Hello everyone, welcome back to another Python episode. So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about floats and integers. So what are floats and integers? Floats and integers are used to represent numeric data on Python. So the difference between floats and integer is that floats represent decimal numbers and integer represents whole numbers. So let me dive right in. So if you want to create an integer or a float on Python, this is how you go about it. So let me say num1, I say equals to 5, and num2 equals to 3 points, num2 equals to 3.5. So this right here is an let me create an hashtag here and say integer, and this here is a float. So that's basically what a float and integer is. Float is decimal number, integer is whole number. So I'm going to be talking about the different operations you can perform using numbers, using float and integers. So you should know simple arithmetic. If you are coming from another programming language like JavaScript, you might have an idea of what arithmetic operator is. But if you are not coming, just sit back and listen to what I'm about to explain. So the first operator I'm going to be talking about is the addition operator. So the addition operator is just the plus sign, so just to add two numbers together. So for example, now if I click print and I open this and say num1 plus num2, I will have 8.5. Okay, let me clear this. So I have 8.5. That's the addition operator. So basically the addition operator adds two numbers together. So the next one I'm going to be talking about is the subtraction, which is also the minus. If you do this and you try to subtract it, you have 1.5. That's 5 minus 3.5, you get 1.5. The other one I'm going to be talking about is the multiplication operator. So if I do this, I have 17.5. That's 5 times 3.5, get 17.5. So the next one is just the division operator. So let me clear this so that there will be space, and I can see 1.42 and so many numbers. Though this number, you can see that it's very long, there is also a way you can actually approximate it to make it reduce from this actual size to leave like four decimal places, 2 decimal places, depending on what you want. So the next one is floor. So if I do this same thing that I did here, it's not going to be as long as this. You can see it flow into the nearest whole number without adding any other thing. So even if I change this to 4.5, or let me change this to 3.5 and change this to 20, and I run it, I'll have 5.0 instead of me having the same. It flows it to the nearest whole number without having any other extra decimal point at the back. So that's what it does. So now, for example, assuming I want to do the raised to power of a number, let me take this off. So let me say num1. So num1 raised to the power of 2. So if I want to say raised to the power of 2, you are supposed to get 200. To do that, you just have to use the multiplication sign, the multiplication operator twice, this and this, and just say 2. So if you run it now, we should get 400 exactly. So that's how to do the raised to the power of any number. Whether raised to the power of 2, you just have to put the multiplication sign twice. That's the exponential operator twice, and power that you want to, maybe raised to the power of 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to do. And the next one I'm going to be talking about is the modulus operator. So now I want to check modulus operator is to check if it has remainder. So if the modulus has remainder, so it's going to print out the remainder of it. So let me change this back to 3 and say num1 modulus. To do the modulus, it's just the percentage operator, the percentage sign, and just put 2. So if I run this, I should have 1 exactly, because if you divide 3 divided by 2, you get it will divide it and it will remain 1. So if I say 4, I should have 0. If I run this now, exactly 0. So that's basically it. So the other type of operator, okay, before I go to the next type of operator, which is the comparison operator, I also want to explain other functions you can do on it. So assuming now I have this, so 4 divided by num2, and I'll show this. I will have this, but I want to sum I want to round it off, you can do something like this. Let me cut this out and say results. I say equals to round. Okay, so let me just put this here and say print round. So I'll just put the variable that I need, results, and I'll just put comma, and I'll just put the number of decimal places I want. Let me say 3 decimal places. If I run this, I should have 3 decimal places, as you can see. So that's a function, built-in function that you can try. And also you can reduce it whether 2 decimal places. If you run it, I will have 2 decimal places. As you can see, it approximates it. So this is the approximation function in Python. If you want to approximate a answer, a value, a float to a particular number of decimal places, you can just do it with Python with the round function. Also, if you want to get the absolute value of something, it just give you a whole number. So I can just do something like this. It won't give me in decimal, it's just ABS. So I'll just say results. So just give me 1. Oh no, oh sorry, I meant decimal, a negative number. If I want to get it in absolute value, I'll just say number 1. And let me clear this off and run now. See, it takes away the negative value and change it to 4. So that's that about the functions before I proceed to the logical operators. So now let me take this off. So the next one I'm going to be talking about is the equals to operator. So if I say print, now this 4, and okay, let me comment this out too, I don't need this yet. So if I want to check if this number 1 is equals to number 2, I'll just say print, open brackets, number 1 double equals to number 2. It's supposed to print out false. So if I do this, I should have false, as you can see here, false, because number 1 is not equals to number 2. But if I change this to 4 and I run it again, I should have true, because number 1 is now equals to true. So that's that. So but if you want to also check if it's not equals to true, you can just say not, the exclamation mark, and equals to. So if you run this, it should have 4 true, due to the fact that number 1 is not equals to, this sign is the not equals to sign, the exclamation mark and equals to is the not equals to sign. If you want to check less than or greater than, you can do it like this. Is number 1 greater than number 2? If you run it, you should get true or false. So true, because number 1 is 4 and number 2 is 3.5. So if you want to check less than and you run it, you see false, because number 1 is not equals to false. So let's clear that. So you can also do the less than or equals to, or greater than or equals to. So to do that, if you want to do the greater than, is number 1 greater than or equals to 4? Number 1 greater than or equals to number 2? Yes, so you get true. Same with the less than 2. So if you try this and say equals to and you run it also, you get false. So that's that. And that's are the type of operators you can do use on numeric data in Python. And also, if I mentioned this before in my last one of my videos, so if you want to check a type of data type that it is, you can just do something like type and num. So sorry, type num, supposed to bring int. So if I run this class float, sorry, because I said num2 and num2 is a float. So if I say number 1 and I run it, I should have int, because it's an integer float. That's the 2 type of data type, numeric data type we have in Python. Or double, there's also double, but we are not going to be going into that yet. And also finally, I want to talk about something now. Now assuming you want to do something like this, let me take away this integer and convert it to a string. So this is a string now. If I try to run this and if I try to add number 1 plus number 2, I think we should get an error. If I run this, okay, you can see it didn't get an error, it just added it as 4 plus 3, which is not what we want. We wanted to sum it together to get 7. To do that, you have to convert this 4 to an integer. So you just put this like this, int open brackets, put it there, and same with this one. So now Python will recognize it as an integer instead of a string. So if you run this now, you will have 7. So that's that about numbers and floats and integer in Python. If you have any question, you can drop it below in the comment section, and if you have any improvement towards my videos, you can let me know and I'll be willing to answer you. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe so that it will give me more motivation to make more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.